Hello there. Welcome to Just the Discs. We talk about Blu-rays here and 4Ks, and going to do some Kino talk for this round. We got a lot of stuff to potentially cover here, so I'm going to get right into it with a big one for horror fans, The Boogans on 4K. This from 1981, and a movie that I didn't grow up watching, but I believe picked up its following through cable showings and maybe some VHS love back in the day. I think it got a Blu-ray from, I want to say, Olive, but this is quite a step up from that. This 4K looks gorgeous. Brand new Dolby Vision HDR master from a 4K scan of the original camera negative. Really, really great looking transfer, I have to say. Let's see here. There is no escape. In a small town near Denver, two young men begin to explore a long-abandoned old mine recently reopened by a group of miners. When one of them is discovered missing, his friends begin a search that leads them to horrifying consequences. They are all unaware of the evil that has been unleashed, and soon, one by one, the townspeople are snatched up by a monster that no one has yet to see. Suddenly, the grisly truth is revealed, and a young couple is forced to confront the unknown in order to save their lives, an entire town. After 100 years, they have reawakened. Prepare to meet the Boogans. Director James L. Conway, starring Rebecca Balding from Silent Scream. It also stars Anne-Marie Martin, who I recognize from, I think, Halloween 2 and Prom Night. She definitely looks familiar to me. But yeah, this is a slow building horror movie. It opens with a montage of like newspaper clippings talking about the gold strike in this town in the 1880s, and then these are all newspaper headlines like, miners report being attacked, and then the final headline is mine closed, and it's like 1912. And this being a mine-centric movie and the general vibe of it sort of makes me think of My Bloody Valentine, which came out right around the same time. But yeah, it's interesting. If I have any issues with the movie at all, it's only that you really don't see the creature until basically the end of the movie. You see, and you don't see like a lot of it, if I'm being honest. So a lot of the creature tension is done through low angle POV shots, like creeping along the ground, because basically the idea is they blow up something in the mine and it sets the creature loose into the sewers or something so they can get into one particular house through the basement. So it's constantly creeping up on people, grabbing people. You get POV shots of that, shots of characters being pulled off camera. But, it's a movie that I know, like I said, has a pretty significant following and fans. And boy, like I said, this transfer looks so good. You're going to be very excited that you picked it up. So that's The Boogans. Now, this also has some nice features. It has an audio commentary by director James L. Conway, writer-director David O'Malley, and actress Rebecca Balding, moderated by film historian Jeff McKay. It has another audio commentary by actor Jeff Harlan, and that one with film historian Howard S. Berger, plus William Munns, the man who made the Boogans featurette. So this is both 4K and Blu-ray. Nice slipcover. And it has alternate artwork as well, which I will put on the outside so you can see it. So that's the alternate artwork for the Boogans. But yeah, really, really nice job by Kino on this this transfer and the features. Fun to listen to the commentary and the folks talking about. It's a very laid back kind of commentary, but they're talking about the company they started, and this was, I think, their first horror movie, and it's an enjoyable listen for sure. But big recommend for the Boogans. Then we have on 4K also Kindergarten Cop. Now, this is a fun one, and it's one of those things where, Schwarzenegger, I grew up with him and grew up with watching his action movies, but, his career takes this turn, and this is not the beginning of that turn. It starts to turn into like comedy towards the late 80s, early 90s, right? And so we see him in the Terminator, we see him doing a bunch of these action movies, and then he starts to do things with Ivan Reitman. I'm just looking at his thing here, like Terminator, Red Sonja, Commando, Raw Deal, Predator, Running Man, Red Heat, Twins. Suddenly he does Twins. And that, I believe, is the first collaboration with Ivan Reitman. And apparently he's a big fan of Ivan Reitman. There's a little quote from Josh Nelson in the commentary. It's a great commentary. A couple commentaries included on this one too, with Josh Nelson and Alexandra Heller-Nicholas. And Josh does this great imitation of him talking about Ivan Reitman being a genius. So apparently really dug Reitman. Now this one is interesting because it's more a combination of the comedy and the action. It starts in a sort of an action vein, and it stars Richard Tyson, who, if you know me, you know I'm a huge fan of 3 O'Clock High. He, of course, Buddy Revell from 3 O'Clock High. He is the guy that Schwarzenegger's character is sort of stalking. He's a cop stalking this guy, and it sort of sets up the whole movie in a way. Brand new HDR Dolby Vision Master from 4K scan of the 35 camera negative. Screen legend Arnold Schwarzenegger teaches a lesson in hilarity in this heartwarming action comedy classic. Detective John Kimball. That's Schwarzenegger is a veteran of the mean streets of Los Angeles and ready and able to tackle anything. But to trap an elusive criminal, he is forced to face his most challenging assignment yet, going undercover as a kindergarten teacher. Now facing 23 screaming kids, he has to keep them under control without blowing his top and his cover. Once he gains the respect of the class, as well as the affections of a beautiful teacher, that's Penelope Ann Miller, Detective Kimball must prepare for a final confrontation with his prey in this gut-busting smash comedy directed by the great Ivan Reitman. Ghostbusters, of course, was his big one. Featuring Pamela Reed, Linda Hunt, Richard Tyson, again. Carol Baker is in this, which is really interesting, and Kathy Moriarty. I like this cast, and I'd forgotten that some of these classic actors like Carol Baker and Kathy Moriarty are in it. But yeah, a lot of fun, looks good. The commentary by Alexandra Heller-Nicholas and Josh Nelson, they are a great duo. I really enjoy their tracks a lot. They establish early on that it's not going to be a track where they just keep saying it's not a Tuma over and over again, which is very funny to me. Also has a commentary by Sam Deegan. So multiple commentaries is a thing with Kino 4Ks right now, and I'm here for it. I really like it. So that is Kindergarten Cop on 4K. Next up on Blu-ray, this is a big one for me personally. One of a couple movies about cults. Cult films, in that they are about cults. This is called Split Image. It is from 1982, directed by the great Ted Kotcheff, who did First Blood and North Dallas 40, which just got announced recently for a 4K. Very excited about that as well. And this one is one of the big ones in the 80s. Another one that's out there you can check out, but doesn't have a great physical release, is Ticket to Heaven with Nick Mancuso. And Kim Cattrall is in that one. This is a pretty great cast. Michael O'Keefe, Karen Allen, James Woods, Elizabeth Ashley, Brian Dennehy, and Peter Fonda. Michael O'Keefe, if you don't remember, is Danny Noonan from Caddyshack. And I'm a fan of him. Definitely a different role for him, but it's interesting because he's playing kind of a sarcastic type. He's a gymnast in this, and he at some point runs into Karen Allen, who is part of this cult, and he gets sort of pulled into it. and then the idea is that he doesn't want to leave. He's very skeptical at first, and we see a little bit of James Woods at the beginning. He's a deprogrammer. He's actually, I think the reason that they run into each other is because James Woods' character is trying to capture and what he has to do is like kidnap these people out of the cults, deprogram them, and that's his gig. And he's a scumbag, and he plays it perfectly. It's actually one of the great James Woods performances like ever, but he nails it. Whether you like him or not, and I'm not like personally a huge fan of him, but as an actor, I think he's great in certain roles, and this is one of those. So the idea is that Brian Dennehy and Elizabeth Ashley play the parents to Michael O'Keefe. They want to get him out of this cult. Peter Fonda is the guy who runs the cult. I think that's a really inspired choice. I think he does a really good job at being both alluring and creepy. So I really dig that one. But yeah, this is a movie that hasn't had a Blu-ray to this point, and one that I've been wanting a Blu-ray for quite some time. This is a brand new HD master from a 2K scan of the 35mm inner positive, and this is the best it's going to look. Clearly, this is not going to get another release after this. But yeah, James Woods looking like pretty crazy. But yeah, it's and it's funny too that Michael O'Keefe's character's name is Danny in this. I find that amusing. Score by Bill Conti. Audio commentary by film historian, filmmaker Daniel Kramer. A very worthwhile release. Split image on Blu-ray for the first time from Kino. Okay, so that is cool. Okay, this is interesting. I don't know if it's a great movie, but The Man Who Wasn't There. Not the Coen Brothers film. This is the 1983, excuse me. 3D film starring the great Steve Guttenberg, as well as one of my favorites, Lisa Langlois, who is from Deadly Eyes. That's one of my big go-to animal attack movies that I love, and it's a favorite of mine. So this is a really prominent role for Lisa Langlois. Directed by Bruce Malmuth, who did Nighthawks. It is like, I think I would compare it to, it's sort of like a more edgy R-rated live action Disney Hitchcock riff, but kind of dumb. And that's okay. I'm okay with dumb movies, but what's really neat about it is it's a movie that's been really hard to see for a long time. But when you could see it on VHS, it was always, pan and scan or cropped. And this is a widescreen 2:35:1 movie. And the 3D, this has both anaglyph and Blu-ray 3D. I watched it in the polarized 3D last night, the Blu-ray 3D, and it looks great. It is just neat to see this movie that was part of that, that group of 3D movies that were coming out around that time. So brand new 3D and HD masters from a 4K scan of the 35 original camera negative. It's the wildest, funniest, fastest moving adventure comedy you've never seen. Steve Guttenberg stars as Sam Cooper, a minor State Department functionary in Washington, D.C., who becomes the object of a frenetic chase when a dying secret agent hands him a vial containing a top-secret formula that can render a person invisible. Sam immediately drinks the formula to keep one step ahead of the spies. That's not true. He doesn't drink it. I think he spills it on some food, if I'm remembering. He does drink it later. Let's see. Drinks the formula to keep one step ahead of Soviet spies, American counter-spies, the police who think Sam murdered an agent, thugs, and Sam's estranged fiancé, who is left standing at the altar. Until he can find the mysterious Runkleman and clear his name. H.G. Wells was never like this. Written by Stanford Sherman, who wrote Krull and the Ice Pirates. Intriguing. Directed by Bruce Malmuth. I guess he did Nighthawks and Hard to Kill, the Seagal. Co-starring Jeffrey Tambor, Art Hindle, Tambor from Arrested Development and Larry Sanders Show, among many other things. Art Hindle from The Brood. You'll recognize him right away if you're a Brood fan. Lisa Langlois, she's also in Class of 1984. And William Forsythe, who's in Stone Cold, among other things. Cloak and Dagger. Tons of other stuff. Let's see here. Special edition of The Man Who Wasn't There presents the film remastered in 3D by the 3D Film Archive. These guys do great work. Really, really, I can't praise them enough in terms of the way that they take care of these 3D movies. They really preserve them. I think I talked about Robot Monster relatively recently. They worked on that. So anything they put out, I'm kind of like, oh, let's tee it up. Let me watch it. This movie's a little long at 1 hour and 51 minutes. It takes a while to get going. And as like I said, it's kind of goofy, kind of dumb, but again, really neat to see in 3D. Jeffrey Tambor's character is Boris Potemkin, which I find very amusing. Several scenes of Gutenberg getting naked, Lisa Langlois getting naked to become invisible, and of course becoming revisible and being naked and having to deal with the comic consequences of that. And there are some sequences where you have multiple invisible people, which is kind of cool. So anyway, Man Who Wasn't There, 3D Blu-ray. Then we have some noirs here. We have He Walked by Night, this one from 1948. Richard Basehart and Scott Brady. And Scott Brady, of course, the brother of Lawrence Tierney. So when you see Scott Brady, you'll be like, that guy looks a heck of a lot like Lawrence Tierney. There's a reason. So this is a brand new HD master from a 16-bit 4K scan of the 35mm fine grain. This is like sort of a classic of noir movies. Like, if you're a noir fan, you've probably seen it. You've probably heard of it. Starring Richard Basehart, Scott Brady, and Jack Webb. This film noir classic was the inspiration not only for TV's Dragnet, which I didn't realize, also with Webb. Jack Webb, that Jack Webb. Dragnet Jack Webb. But for many other subsequent ripped from the headlines crime dramas, taken from actual case files, He Walked by Night is suspenseful, action-packed tale of a manhunt for the most cunning criminal in the history of the LAPD, with a combination of ingenuity, state-of-the-art technology, and sweat and sheer determination. The police painstakingly track down a brilliant and elusive thief and cop killer, chillingly played by Basehart in only his third film, who seems to have the ability to vanish into thin air, but can they catch him before he murders again? This gritty, groundbreaking police procedural features direction by Alfred L. Worker and uncredited Anthony Mann as well. Stunning cinematography by John Alton. That's one of the reasons I think people remember it, is because it looks great. John Alton shot it. John Alton did a bunch of noirs with Anthony Mann, Raw Deal, T-Man, etc. So this is in that category. Now, again, doubling up on the commentaries, which is exciting. You have a commentary from Imogen Sarah Smith, top tier, one of my absolute favorite noir commentators, period. She is fantastic. And you have an audio commentary by Alan K. Rhodey and Julie Kirgo. So, big fan of Rhodey. Love Julie Kirgo. Haven't heard her in enough commentary tracks recently. And so wonderful to have 2 tracks to check out on this He Walked by Night new Blu-ray. Very nice new Blu-ray of that one. Then we have another noir here. We have Odds Against Tomorrow. This is a really crackerjack noir from Robert Wise, starring Harry Belafonte, Robert Ryan, Shelley Winters, Ed Begley is in here, Gloria Graham is in here. This is from 1959, black and white. Let's see here. Nerve-snapping, suspense, gritty style, and an unsparing look at racial tension unite this thunderbolt of a film from legendary director Robert Wise, who of course did The Setup, big noir favorite of Scorsese's among others, The Day the Earth Stood Still, and screenwriters Abraham Polanski, who did Force of Evil, which I talked about on one of the favorite Blu-rays of the year episodes I did a while back, because he did Force of Evil, of course. Based on a novel by William P. McGivern, who wrote The Big Heat. Acting greats Harry Belafonte, Robert Ryan, Shelley Winters, Ed Begley, Gloria Graham deliver superb performances in this taut and absorbing crime melodrama, often cited as the first film noir to feature a black protagonist. $150,000 ready for the taking. It's too much to resist for bigoted ex-con Earl Slater. That's Robert Ryan, who did make his bread and butter playing this kind of character from time to time. He agrees to take part in a bank robbery with former cop Burke, that's Ed Begley, but hesitates when he finds out one of his partners, Belafonte, is black. As tensions mount and the men get closer to their biggest score ever, Earl's hatred erupts, resulting in violent consequences for the heist and their lives. So, heist movie, racial tension, great actors. One of my favorite Harry Belafonte performances. Really, really solid stuff. Audio commentary by film historian Alan K. Rhodey again. Gotta love it. Past screening Q&A with star producer Harry Belafonte from 2009 in Chicago, August. So you get Q&A with Bob Belafonte there. And post-screening Q&A with actress Kim Hamilton, parts 1 and 2, and that's from April in Los Angeles of 2007. So multiple folks involved with the film and a great scholar on the commentary. Highly recommended. Odds Against Tomorrow. Then real quickly we have the Film Noir box set, The Dark Side of Cinema, number 16, I believe, if I'm reading my Roman numerals correctly. And this one features 3 films, of course, The Mystery of Marie Roget, Chicago Deadline, and Iron Man. I'll go through all 3 of these, but I'm going to start with my favorite, which is Chicago Deadline, an Alan Ladd and Donna Reed noir. This is from 1949. Was she good or evil? Ladd provides the answer. From noir king Lewis Allen, director of The Uninvited, Desert Fury, So Evil My Love, and Appointment with Danger, comes a twist-filled mystery headlined by screen greats Alan Ladd and Donna Reed. In a cheap hotel room on Chicago's South Side, hard-nosed newspaperman Ed Adams, Ladd, finds the body of a dead girl, Rosita John Durr. That's Donna Reed. Her address book leads to a host of men frightened by her death, but claiming never to have known her. The more questions Ed asks, the more he uncovers the shocking truth. June Havoc, Irene Hervey, and Arthur Kennedy add strong support to the smoldering suspense. Again, a commentary from Alan K. Rhodey. He's an MVP for this round. But yeah, I have really enjoyed this. Makes me think of like Calling Northside 777 or something like that. You know, it's not quite that docu-real, but in terms of the story and the way that Alan Ladd's newspaper reporter character keeps trying to find out about this woman and keeps getting little bits about her, but it's unusual and interesting in the way that it's told, and I like this sort of story where you don't know, there's an enigma in the center of it, and you don't really know what her deal is. What did she do to these people? What happened? Because she is dead, and she does not come back, but we do get to see her a little bit in flashback. But a really enjoyable Alan Ladd noir in that one. And then we have The Mystery of Marie Roget, and this one, brand new HD masher from a 2K scan of the 35 fine grain. The Mystery Master's spine-clutching classic of the Phantom Mangler of Paris. The haunting film adaptation of Edgar Allan Poe's pioneering detective story, The Mystery of Marie Roget, so it's based on Poe, which is nice, paints the future queen of Technicolor, Maria Montez, in stunning shades of noir. This is a black and white movie, of course. She's not color here. A successful actress in The City of Light, Marie Roget Montez has a sinister dark side. She is plotting the death of her younger sister. When her sister goes missing and the maimed corpse of a young woman is discovered, Rue Morgue sleuth Dr. Paul Dupin, Patrick Knowles, works to track down the killer. Filled with suspense and intrigue, this gripping classic, also known as Phantom of Paris, was inspired by the real-life unsolved murder case of Mary Rogers, featuring Maria Uspenskaya, Edward Norris, and Lloyd Corrigan. Audio commentary by film historian Tom Weaver and Gary L. Prang and Tom Zimmerman, author of The Queen of Technicolor, so somebody that knows something about Maria Montez. And, very cool, an audio commentary by novelist critic Kim Newman and writer-editor Stephen Jones. Two of my favorite, another duo that I love in commentaries, and this does seem like the kind of thing they would dig. You know, it's like a horror-adjacent noir, and love to hear their thoughts on just about anything, really. So really nice release of that one. And then lastly, we have a boxing movie here, Iron Man. This one stars Jeff Chandler. Well, I'll go through it. Brand new HD master from a 2K scan of the 35 fine grain. He's all man in the ring or anywhere. Jeff Chandler stars as a coal miner who turns to professional boxing in the knockout noir Iron Man, and a Pennsylvania mining town. Coke Mason Chandler is a man with simple life's ambitions. He endeavors to marry Rose, Evelyn Keyes, and own a small business, but his gambler brother George, Stephen McNally, has plans to take advantage of Mason's intense rage and turn him into a professional boxer. Worried that his killer instinct may prove to be too much in the ring, Mason must cope with pressures of his newfound success in this blistering boxing drama from noir master Joseph Pevney, director of Flesh and Fury, Foxfire, and Female on the Beach. Yeah, I like Pevney. He's a really solid noir director. Featuring future Hollywood legend Rox Hudson and TV legend James Arness and Jim Backus. So very cool to have some TV guys in here. Audio commentary by film historian, screenwriter Gary Girani included on this one. And I haven't had a chance to watch this one yet, so I'm very curious to check that out. But another solid-looking noir set from Kino. Okay, a few more things here. Let me just do that. Run Silent, Run Deep. This is maybe my favorite sub-warfare movie. It's right up there. I mean, it's really up there for me. Definitely one that influenced, Hunt for Red October, all kinds of other films. This one, Clark Gable and Burt Lancaster headline, and also directed by Robert Wise. So I thought, it is Wise, isn't it? I swear it's right. Wise. Yeah, it is Wise. Screen legends Clark Gable and Burt Lancaster star in this gripping World War II adventure thriller that set a new standard for submarine pictures. Rich Richardson Gable is a hard-driving, dedicated submarine officer with a single-minded purpose to seek out and smash the Japanese destroyer he believes sunk his former ship. Given a new command, Richardson drills his men to the point of mutiny as he relentlessly trains them for the battle ahead. At last, word comes of the destroyer's position, and disobeying orders, Richardson finally confronts his foe, unaware that an even greater enemy lurks nearby, one that's been targeting him for a watery grave. Directed by the great Robert Wise, and featuring a stellar supporting cast headed by Jack Warden, Brad Dexter, and Don Rickles. It's one of the reasons I like this is because of the cast. It's a really, really solid sub movie. You're going to see some shots that look like a bathtub with the sub in it. If you can get by that, you should be fine. I still, it never takes me out. I really just enjoy this movie overall. Now, this doesn't list as a new scan. This has come out from Kino before, but never as a slipcover edition. And so it's got a slipcover, and now it has a commentary as well, which I don't think it had before. And that commentary is by filmmaker historian Steve Mitchell and combat films American realism author Stephen J. Rubin. And those guys are great for these sort of war movies. They always do a good job in the commentary area. There's the reversible artwork for Run Silent, Run Deep. But high recommend for me if you like naval warfare, marine warfare movies, which I do. Kind of ties into Star Trek. It's just this whole thing. Anyway, Run Silent, Run Deep. In fact, I would guess Gene Roddenberry is a fan of Run Silent, Run Deep. Okay, what else here? Let's do part of the Kino Cult line. This is their, I think, first 4K release. This is Clive Barker's Underworld, directed by George Pavlou, starring Denholm Elliott, Stephen Burkoff, Miranda Richardson, and Ingrid Pitt. This is one I have not seen and had not really heard of, if I'm being honest, before this 4K. And it's got some pretty interesting reverse artwork, because this movie also goes by the name Transmutations. Okay? So kind of a creepy cover for Transmutations. Anything can be created. Now, this is a 4K and a Blu-ray. And it says brand new HDR Dolby Vision Master from a 4K scan of the 35mm camera negative. From the strange imagination of Clive Barker, Hellraiser Nightbreed, comes a neo-noir underworld, a realm of hidden dimensions, dark, dangerous waters, and a labyrinth of tunnels inhabited by ghoulish victims of a cruel chemical experiment. When high-class hooker Nicole is kidnapped, businessman Hugo Motherskill hires her ex-lover, the hard-boiled gumshoe Roy Bain, to find her. Bain traces her disappearance to the diabolical Dr. Savory, who supplies a weird white powder to a secret cabal of mutant sewer dwellers. Under the city, out of sight, they wait. Plunge, if you dare, into the spine-tingling and neon-drenched underworld directed by George Pavlou, who did Rawhead Rex. So it's kind of like another teaming of Barker and this guy. And starring Denholm Elliott, Stephen Burkhoff, Larry Lamb, Miranda Richardson, Art Malik, Nicola Cowper, Irina Brooke, and horror goddess Ingrid Pitt. This is from 1985. I'm very intrigued. Clive Barker, Monster Noir. I mean, it sounds like something I'm going to be into. So this has an audio commentary with director George Pavlou, moderated by Stephen Thrower, from, of course, the author of Nightmare USA. Great moderator and a great commentator and scholar in his own right. So that's a great commentary. Transmutations 103-minute alternate cut. So this one, there's a 92-minute cut, which I guess is Underworld, and then there's a 103-minute cut, which is Transmutations. It also has archival behind-the-scenes footage, artwork, and stills and storyboard, Clive Barker designs, etc. But a nice 4K entry for the Kino Cult line. And one more quick one from the Kino Cult line. Sinner, The Secret Diary of a Nymphomaniac, with Anne Libert, Jacqueline Laurent, and Montserrat Prue. I've never heard of this one either. A film by legendary cult director Jess Franco. I should have known that would be part of it. Diabolical Dr. Z, Venus and Furs, Count Dracula, and the Erotic Rites of Frankenstein, Lorna the Exorcist. Man made so many movies. It's kind of incredible, actually. Made at the height of Franco's creative prowess, Sinner, The Secret Diary of a Nymphomaniac is a grindhouse Citizen Kane, a moody tale of one woman's sexual evolution and shocking demise, told through the eyes of those who knew her. When Linda Montserrat Prus dies in the arms of her lover, Manuel Pereiro, the man's wife, Jacqueline Laurent, investigate the dead woman's past to try and clear her husband's name. As it weaves together the tangled threads of Linda's tragic life, Sinner leads the viewer into a voyeuristic labyrinth of seedy discotheques, sultry jazz clubs, and delicious 70s sex pads, backed with an acid rock soundtrack and oversaturated visuals that bring the film to the edge of psychedelia. Within its depths, Sinner reveals unexpected layers of narrative and emotional complexity, demonstrating why Franco remains one of the most underappreciated filmmakers of European cinema. And this one is stacked with stuff here. We have an audio commentary by novelist and film critic Tim Lucas, another all-star commentator. So if he's on board, I'm that much more curious about this film. Interview with actress Jacqueline Laurent, interview with actress Anne Libert, interview with filmmaker Gerard Ciccone, who edited this film. And interview with Stephen Thrower, again, the author of Murderous Passions, The Delirious Cinema of Jesus Franco. So, Stephen Thrower, again, really great. Both English and French versions of the film are included here in this Blu-ray. So that is the other one from the Kino Cult line. I think that's it for this round. I will definitely be back with some more Kino stuff. I've got a lot of Kino titles to talk about, more than I can watch, honestly. So just want to make you guys aware of some of these, and hope that some of these little summations will intrigue you enough to want to check them out. Definitely keep an eye on Kino Lorber's socials. They are announcing new titles almost every day, and so that's an exciting thing to watch for. Anyway, thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.